I am Engineer Dr. John Bosco of CK Tedem University of Technology and Applied Science. I happen to have studied in China during my master's degree, though I did my PhD. I started my PhD equally from China, but uh, completed the PhD in Ghana. I went to China in 2013, finished 2015, went back 2015, later on 2016. Um, so I can say from the year 2013 to the year 2019, I've been in China for both masters and PhD, though I didn't finally complete the PhD in China. But I had to go through the process that I am to share with you before I could get my first admission to the university where I schooled for my master's degree and PhD, which I started in China. Now, basically, the presentation, as I indicated, along the line, there will be some colleagues of mine who have studied in China with me. They will, they will be invited to share their experience with us. So the presentation outline will be like this. We'll go through from introduction to types of scholarships that are available in China. Then we'll look at how we can find a university and appropriate programs that are run in China. We'll consider the eligibility of the applicant, the one who is applying. How qualified are you to apply? And what are the requirements that are needed to apply for these programs? Now, how do you prepare your documents from Ghana here to meet the requirements that the Chinese universities and the scholarship schemes are asking for? How do you use the Chinese government scholarship portal? How do you submit your application documents? If there are interviews, how are the interviews conducted? What do you need to do after the interviews? And when you are successful, what are the processes that you need to go to apply for your visa? And what are some of the few things you might need to put in place before you actually embark on your journey to China? When you get to China, how do you settle in? How do you register at your university? Now, basically, we are going to consider what the Chinese government scholarship is. Usually, this scholarship is offered by the Chinese government. It's almost like what we have here, Get Fund Scholarship, and we have some other scholarships that are offered, the MTN and the rest. But the Get Fund Scholarship and the others are similar to this Chinese government scholarship. So this scholarship actually offers a fully funded opportunity for international students, which means that it is open to everyone, not only for Ghanaian students. Once you are trying to get into China for further studies, this opportunity is available for you. Now, if you are given a full scholarship, it covers the tuition, which means you will not be paying any school fees. Covers the medical insurance, means when you are sick in China, you wouldn't need any extra money to cater for your health needs. There will be a stipend or a monthly allowance that they'll be paying you whilst you are studying. Your accommodation will be taken care of by the scheme. Now, in some provinces, they take care of the flight ticket of the student, which means that once you are able to go through the application process, the only thing you need to do is to get your visa, and then your ticket is already available for you and you can embark on your journey. Now, for those who are not given the full scholarship, they are given a kind of a partial scholarship, what some people can say a tuition waiver. So they will only take away the tuition, which means for such students, they will require to have their own medical insurance there. be able to take care of their accommodation, and be able to feed themselves, which is unlike the first category that all these aspects are covered. Now, usually application is not all year round for the government scholarship. Usually the scholarship starts from the 15th of December every year, and it ends on the 30th of April the following year. So if we are considering this year, the process will start on the 15th of December 2024 and end on 30th of April 2025 for the 2024-2025 academic year entry in September. Now, when you are given the stipend, so basically what we are calling the stipend is what they give you every month, apart from the accommodation, your feeding, and the rest. You are given, for bachelor students, you are given some amount. The money that is spent in China usually is called renminbi or RMB. Some people call it, or they can call it traditional as the yen. Now, so if I am a bachelor student and you are given a scholarship, a full scholarship for that matter, you are given between 2,500 RMB to 3,000 RMB. Now, if you consider the equivalent in Ghana, that is like 4,000 to 5,400 every month. So if your program is going for 2 years for the master's programs, for the bachelor's program, 4 years, if it's going for 4 years, which means for the 4 years, for all the months, so that is about 24 times 4. So we are looking at 90, we're looking at 96 months. For all the 96 months, you'll be given this amount every month as stipend to take care of your feeding. If you are a master's student, it is within the range of 3,000 to 3,500 RMB. Equivalent figures, as you can see there, are the Ghana figures that are there. For the PhD, it's between 3,500 to 4,000 RMB, and that is equivalent to 6,000 to 7,200 every month for the duration of the 3 years that you are going to stay in China. So if it is 4 years, you will stay that 4 years. Now, language programs usually do not cover these kind of they don't cover stipends. Now, if you consider in China, it is not just only the Chinese government scholarship that is available. We have the other scholarships like the Confucius Institute scholarships, the provincial scholarships, bilateral scholarships, some university-based scholarships, the Great Wall Scholarship, and EU, and the other local Chinese government scholarships. Now, what you must know is that before you can apply to any of these scholarships, you must ensure that the scholarship aligns with your academic goals and then eligibility. You just don't go for, because they say this is a Confucius Institute scholarship. You are a computer science student who wants to do cybersecurity. You cannot just go and apply for it because the scholarships have what they are covering. Now, if you even have a partial scholarship and get into the university, you are still eligible to apply for the other scholarships whilst in the university. So it doesn't necessarily mean that if you don't get a full scholarship and get in, there's no way you can get a full scholarship. So the Chinese government scholarship is one of the most comprehensive scholarships that is offered by the Chinese government. And this one covers your tuition, your accommodation, the stipend, and the medical insurance for both the undergraduate and postgraduate students. The link to that is what is there. The Confucius Scholarship is aimed at scholars and students who are interested in taking the Chinese language and to understand about the culture of China. So that's why I'm saying that if you need to apply, you have to ensure that the scholarship package you're applying for aligns with your academic goals. The provincial scholarships are basically in China, they have provinces similar to our regions where you say Upper West, Upper East region. So they have some provincial scholarships too that are provided by their provinces. So the Beijing, the Sichuan, the Sahel, the Guangdong, all these people offer some kind of scholarship which is different from the Chinese government scholarship. The bilateral scholarships actually are scholarships that are based on educational exchange agreements between the Chinese government and governments of other countries. We have people coming from Kenya having some scholarships. So you can have a Kenyan student who has a government scholarship, and his scholarship is bigger than yours because they have the bilateral scholarships as well to support them. You have Sudanese having some scholarships where even if a Sudanese person is in the university or in China and brings the spouse, the Sudanese or the Chinese government provides some kind of reward package for the person allowing the spouse to cross to China. We also have the Rwanda also having this kind of bilateral scholarships between their country and that of the Chinese government. So the university-based scholarships are also just designated universities in China can decide to offer some kind of scholarship to outstanding international students in China. So what it means is that if you are not selected for the Chinese government scholarship, the same university that does the selection can still consider that, oh, your academic qualifications are good, but maybe your age for the degree, for the master's is 30 years. If the maximum age for the master's is 30 years, that for the PhD is 35, and then you happen to have gotten good academic grades, but your age limits you from getting the Chinese government scholarship. So they will decide to consider you for the university-based scholarships. Basically, in my case, I didn't get the Chinese government scholarship because I was not within the age brackets. So I got the university-based scholarship for UESTC. So that is what I used to enter there. Now, the only difference between that one and the Chinese government scholarship is that the stipend that you are going to be receiving is not as big as the Chinese government scholarship. So this one, the university pays from their IGF for you. So it means that if you are not eligible for the Chinese government scholarship, based on the criteria that is being set by the Chinese government, the institution you are applying for can equally provide you a scholarship package that is equal to the Chinese government. And in some cases, depending on the area you are researching or you want to do, you can have even a stipend, an internal stipend that is bigger than that of the Chinese government, because they do not have scholarship packages. They don't have research that you just get up in the Ghana context. I can just say that I want to do a research on how people built. And then I just go on to go through the process of research, design my questionnaire, design my methods, and then I go ahead and execute that kind of project. In China, most of the professors and the supervisors already have grants and have researches that they are doing for industry. So they will prefer a student that aligns with them so that there will be that kind of, the industry is looking for the results, whilst the institution is looking for the publications. So these university scholarships actually are good. So whilst my colleagues were getting 3,000 for the Chinese government scholarship, I was getting 1,500 for the university-based scholarship. But life in China is not as hard as Ghana. So I did not even notice that there were some people that were getting more than I was. We also have what is known as the Great Wall Scholarship, which usually is the UN-based sponsor program, where they sponsor people from developing countries to study and do research in China. So there's also another category. And this one, we have a scholarship program that is also from these ASET member states that wish to study in China. So this is a group of universities that have certain link with the Chinese government, and for that matter, they are able to allow students to study there on those terms. Now, the UN-based programs, which means that for those, these are full scholarships that are offered by UN for UN-based students who wish to study in China or who are studying in China. And this is a relationship between the Chinese government and the the European countries. We have this other Ministry of Commerce scholarship that is offered to strengthen the communication and cooperation between China and other countries. And this is based, or it aims at cultivating talents for developing countries. The Chinese local government scholarships are equally scholarships that are offered by the local province. Besides the provincial scholarship, the local governments of those provinces can also decide or also have their scholarship packages that are aimed to attract international students to study in specific regions of China. So let's say Chongqing Municipal Government Mayor Scholarship. So let's say the mayor wants to have more international relationship with people. Maybe he feels within his province, he's not having more international people there, because this all relate or translates into comments, e-comments. They will be buying and they'll be selling. There will be a lot of opportunity that will come as a result of the international students getting in. So some local governments also decide to run the scholarship packages to support international students who are there and to increase or attract more international students to study in their place for the purpose of e-commerce. Now, the first step we need to do is to first of all find out which universities exist and what programs they offer. So first of all, you must go to the official website of the Chinese government scholarship. On that website, you have all the universities that are covered under the Chinese government scholarship listed on the site, and the programs that are also covered are equally listed on that particular site. So when you visit the Chinese government scholarship website, that is where you can find universities that are aligned with your academic goal and the programs that they are offering. If you just go and then pick how do you call it, a program, and that program is not covered by the Chinese government scholarship or by the institution, you should first of all know that you wouldn't be able to get selected for the Chinese government scholarship. The first condition here is that the program you are going to pick must be under the scholarship for you to apply. So you might have a university that is offering a whole number of programs, but not all the programs are covered under the Chinese government scholarship. So that is the tax that applicants who are applying must take their time to research. The website is not in China, it's not in Chinese. You can, if what the Chinese government have done for all universities and educational institutions, that they provide a two language site. If you go there, you will have the option to get the English version of whatever is listed on the website, and you can just work as anybody would have worked on. Now, some programs are covered by the scholarship, but they happen to be taught in Chinese. So if you do not also consider the language of instruction and you pick the program, you might pick the program, get the admission, but when you get into China, you are required to do Chinese language for 1 year before you'll be allowed to take on the program. So if your program is for 2 years, you end up doing 3 years because you have to study the Chinese language for 1 year. It's not bad to study the Chinese language for 1 year, but if you are not someone who is good at languages, and you must pass at a particular grade before you are allowed. If you don't qualify for those language requirements, then your scholarship will not be available for you. So please also consider the language of instruction. I remember when we went there were some other colleagues, statistics department. He got an admission, got a government scholarship. But when he got into China, the language of instruction for the statistics was in Chinese. So the only option for him was to convert to computer science. So he finally came home with a PhD in computer science because he could not go through the process of studying the 1 year Chinese before he could take up his program. Now, you must check the requirements of the program you are applying for. It's very necessary. Now, there are specific qualifications that will be asked for. Some age limits are applied to some programs, and the language proficiencies are also required for some programs. HFC is a Chinese certification, or let's say it's Chinese language platform where they test your Chinese, similar as TOEFL or ELPS, which are for English-based programs. Now, in China, it will look a little funny that a Chinese university is asking for English certification before you can be allowed to study English-based programs. This does not apply to all the universities in China. The university I attended, University of Electronic Science and Technology of China, does not require you to have ELPS or TOEFL. So you must look equally for the language requirement. That is why this is the key aspects of the whole process, is what we are digesting right now. So if you consider the qualification that they are requiring for that particular program, what is the age limit for that program? Are there any language proficiency requirements? If you are going for a program that they are saying that ELPS or TOEFL is a requirement, and you don't have the ELPS or the TOEFL, and you still go on to apply for that program. The Chinese are not like the Ghanaian system where they can just say, oh, let's compromise this for the fact that this person is a good student. No, what is there is what they are going to follow. They don't build people, they build systems, and their systems work. So there is nothing like, oh, this is just one of the requirements I have not met. Once you haven't met that requirement, then it means that you are not qualified for that program or the scholarship that comes with that particular program. How do you prepare your documents when you are to apply? First of all, there is a Chinese government scholarship portal where you are required to go and create an account, and then fill the information that are required from that portal. You are also required to have your highest degree certificate or transcript notarized. We are going to talk about the process of notarization as we go on. You are required to have recommendation letters from professors or associate professors. Now, they refer to their lecturers as professors and associate professors, and then they also have assistant professor. They are not using lecturer, senior lecturer, and the like. So if you have a senior lecturer who can give you a recommendation, it doesn't really matter that much. You need to have a study plan when you are applying. And the study plan is always between 800 to 1,000 words. That is just one page. The study plan is always within a one-page document. Then we also have your passport. Your passport has been valid for at least 1 year when you are applying. But my advice in this particular aspect is that your passport should be at least more than the number of years you will stay in China. Better still, if your passport is about expiring, you can apply for a new one, and if you are lucky and the new one is ready, you go with it. Reasons being this: if you go to China and your passport is expired, the process that is required to get the passport is not easy. And these people are outside there, they don't have compromises. They don't have compromises. So once you don't meet it, it can create a lot of inconvenience for you over there. When you are applying, there's something known as the foreigner physical examination form, which you must send to the hospital and do some number of tests. Basically, they are interested in three major tests. Three major tests is what usually they are very interested in. And these tests are usually syphilis, HIV, and then Hep B. So basically, these are the ones that they really are always interested in: syphilis, HIV, and Hep B. But you as a Ghanaian must also know that you must equally have your yellow card, that is yellow fever card, and you must be vaccinated of yellow fever before you can. Now, the language aspect, we've already talked about it. You need a photograph, a passport size photograph. Depending on the institution, they can say a red background or a blue background. Your CV, and then for those who are applying for postgraduate, master's, and PhD, you might want to add some published papers to increase or enhance your application. Now, the CV, you must be very careful with the CV. What I am saying here is that there is no compromise when you are applying. It is not like here, when you don't follow some instructions, there is some compromise that can be done. The CV, if the institution you are applying for provides a CV template, what it means is that you are strictly binded by that CV template. And if you do not provide the CV template or use the CV template they have provided for you, it means that there is no way you even be considered for the selection. I'm sure we are getting this right. There is no compromise. If they say you should notarize your documents and the documents are not notarized, they are not going to consider or say, oh, this person's documents are good. Let's consider him and let him do the needful. No. So for most people who do not get the scholarships, some of these things are the reasons they do not get the scholarship. They ask you for a study plan and they specifically say that it should be 1 page. Then you provide a study plan that is 2 pages or 1 line in the next page. You have not met the requirement that they are providing. They have specifically told you that this is what you're supposed to do. Let me show you some samples of what I am referring to. Now, they indicate that you should have a research plan. And the research plan is supposed to be 1 page. They expect it to be a 1-page document, not more than 1 page. So this is some friend's research plan that he provided when he was applying for PhD. So this just describes what he's interested in doing, how he intends to do that, and what will be the benefit after he has finished. What contribution will he give to the Chinese government in the process of staying in China? So you see that he's saying he's looking at least 10 publications and 2 books from the area. And he is interested in returning to his country, and he has the interest of becoming a university lecturer. So he's giving them what he intends to do with the certificate. Fortunately for this friend of mine, he is now a university lecturer, as he indicated he will want to be a university lecturer and support his country. So basically, you are mandated, if they are saying a 1-page document, please be within the 1 page. Outside the 1 page is not considered you meeting the requirement. Now, the physical examination form looks like this. Physical examination form for foreigners. These are available on the university sites. So here they tell you how they want examination to be done. You should attach a negative film of your chest X-ray examination, the exam certificates, laboratory tests, if there's cholera, yellow fever, plague, all the sicknesses they have listed. They want you to have some proof, but they have indicated that specifically they will need a negative film of your chest X-ray examination. Now, the physical examination should be done in a public hospital 1 month before the person's departure. If the physical checkup is done at the private hospital, the student should get a certificate notarized. So what they are saying is that if you do it in a public institution in Ghana, a public hospital in Ghana that is recognized by them, you do not need any notarization of that. But if it is done in the private district, you need to have it notarized. So the whole of that form is there, which you will provide to the hospitals. The doctors know how to fill this. They know how to go around this particular form. And then you attach the appropriate things that are supposed to be attached. Then you scan them. You scan back this form after filling it, or the doctors after doing the test and then certifying you to be medically fit. You now have this, scan it, scan all the tests that have been given to you, and that becomes your medical examination form when you are now filling the scholarship form. So likewise, we have the CVs there. They are there, different universities and their own CVs and the rest. So this is how they intend to see your results. Now let's continue. Now, notarization of documents in Ghana. In Ghana, we have the courts that are responsible for notarizing documents. Notarization of documents, the documents are sent to the court, and then there is usually a notary or public notary at the various high courts and circuit courts that are designated to notarize these documents. Yeah, let me see. Don't worry about the slides. You will get that. Yeah. So you can visit a court in Ghana, a high court for that matter, or a notary, public notary registry. It could be any private person that is certified to notarize documents. So when you go to this particular public notary public of the court, they would put all the documents that you have, put some seals on the documents, and certify them to be true copies of your certificates. They don't believe in the certified true copy from your university. They want it from the court that, yes, this is coming to us as a genuine document that has been certified by the courts of Ghana. So how is it done? Usually, when the documents are sent there, the court registrar will require a signature to be placed on the documents. In some instances, you are also required to sign in the presence of the court that the documents you are presenting are true copies of what is coming from the university in Ghana. So this process of you signing in the presence of the registrar is to ensure that the notary can verify that you are the person that actually owns the documents that you are bringing. So how is the notarization done? In the high courts or in the notary public or any other private practitioner that is certified to do the notarization, you have to pay some money. There's some payment that is supposed to be done to have the documents legally notarized. At the time we were doing this, I think I paid 50 Ghana to have my notarization done at the time. I don't know how much it costs now. But these ones, you go to the court yourself, present the documents that have been required for notarization, your birth cert, your CV, your transcripts, your certificates, all together, you send it to them, and then the information page of your passport, you send these documents together. Then they will put seals and stamp the documents, and you can now scan them and use them for the application. In some cases, they will require you to submit the hard copies to the institution. Now, we also have a second level of the notarization where the documents are signed to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. So at the time I was applying, I had to go through the second level of notarization, which was to have the documents sent to the Foreign Affairs Ministry. So the Foreign Affairs Ministry now also certifies what was notarized in the court, that what is coming from the court is a true copy of the documents that I presented. So the court has notarized. The Foreign Affairs Ministry certifies the fact that what they have notarized is the exact copies that are required. Now, some universities will require you to do the Foreign Affairs certification before you are allowed to qualify to apply for those institutions and even get scholarships that come along with those institutions. So this is basically like what was done then. And then if we look at this is the notarization. They will put this seal there, and then they will put the red seals must be attached to the documents. Then they will use the manual seal to press on the documents. Some universities will not require the notarization. So you see that almost all the things that are notarized are indicated. They indicate that you are born here, this is your father, this is your mother, and this is that the true and lawful owner of the following documents that are being notarized. So you see everything that you are supposed to do, your passport, your whatever, everything must be certified before you can use them to apply. As I indicated, they don't believe in what you say is yours. They want the courts to have these certified. So please ensure that your documents that you are supposed to use for the application have been certified by a notary public or a high court or circuit court that is having a notary public attached to it, to ensure that the registrar of that particular court certifies them. And he must put the red seal and then stamp them, sign, and date it. So as for the payment of the notary fees, the notary service at the court would usually determine the fee that is supposed to be paid. Now, when you pay the money, ensure that you collect a receipt for the payment. The reason is this: the day you'll be going to attend your interview for visa, if you are selected, you can go to the embassy and they will want to know whether in actual sense the documents you are having were paid for and you actually went through the process. Not having the receipt can just disqualify you from getting the visa. So as I'm indicating, there is nothing like a compromise. If the rule is there, they don't bend the rule as it is bent in Ghana. I can see Mr. Elvis Salasi, one of my colleagues who also studied in China and also here at USCC with me. So along the line, he will be invited to make also share some of his experiences with us. So I'll be introducing and inviting those colleagues of mine that will be joining who are Chinese trained, who have gone through the Chinese system. They will also contribute to the discussion as it progresses. Now, when you do the notarization, you must collect the notarized documents in the court and please ensure that all the details, including the seal, the signature, and the date are there before you leave the court. Otherwise, when you are to apply, the Chinese do not know that, oh, the court registrar forgot to put the date. It's considered a forgery document. So there is no amount, you cannot even, how will you even go and explain that? Are you going to travel to China to explain to them that, oh, the court registrar made a mistake and didn't put it? No. Now, note that all courts, in-house notary public, not all of them have in-house notary public. So it is advisable to check the availability if you plan to visit for those services. The process at the court may take some time depending on the workload available at the notary public. So you have to plan accordingly and know the timing very well. So if, let's say, you want to apply and then in March, ending of March or beginning of April, you now go and send your documents to the notary public for notarization. And then it is taking 1 month. And maybe you are picking the document on the 30th and then you couldn't apply on that day and it goes on to May. If you apply from that time, forget it. There's nothing that can be done about it because the time for the government scholarship ends at a particular point. Now, what happens is that when you apply for the government scholarship, it is not the government scholarship. It's not a government scholarship that actually, how do you call it, give you the scholarship. The institution you are applying for would select you first and recommend you to the scholarship secretariat that will give you the scholarship. So when you apply, before you apply to the institution, you must apply to the Chinese government scholarship and use reference of that institution to be part of your document so that when you submit your documents for the school at application process, there is a record of you applying to the Chinese government scholarship and using the institution as reference so that when they select you, they can, based on the fact that you picked the institution as one of their, as the main institution for the scholarship, they will pick it and then you qualify within their criteria for admission they give you. Then afterwards, they now recommend you to the government scholarship for either the full or the partial scholarship. Now, the fifth step is for you to fill the Chinese government scholarship online. You have to go online and fill the Chinese government scholarship form. And whatever document they require you to attach in that government scholarship portal, you have to attach them. If you go to apply to the institution too, They might equally ask you for similar documents or not. But once you are applying to the Chinese government scholarship online, that aspect is the upload of the documents is mandatory. And if you don't upload the appropriate documents, it means that you, first of all, have not met the requirements for the Chinese government scholarship selection in the first place. Now, when you are applying on the Chinese government scholarship, there's what is known as an agency number. And this number is provided to all Chinese institutions that are being accredited to offer the Chinese government scholarship. So you must add this, the how they call it, the agency number of that institution. So if you don't know the agency number of the institution you're applying for, you can actually get it from the Chinese embassy in Ghana, or you can just visit the website of that particular institution to locate the agency number. So these agency numbers are usually used for the application process, for visa issuance, and then certificate verification. When you actually get a certificate in China, they can use that to verify your certificate. Now, some institutions can have different agency numbers for different programs. So you have to ensure that you are picking the right program, agency number for the program you're applying for. So usually in the university I applied, the agency number was 10614. And these are other agency numbers for other institutions. So when you actually fill the form, the Chinese government form, where is it? Oh, I thought I saved this. Good. So this is how the output of that form will look like. It will have the application form for Chinese government scholarship. You see the agency number of this institution is here. It says that the agency number is 10 this, and the name of the institution is this. So the other details are provided accordingly, like that. So when you are done with this, you download this particular form. And now when you are applying to the institution, which is UESCC, you now have to attach this form that you have downloaded from the Chinese government scholarship website as part of the documents you are submitting for consideration. Now, submission of the application, that's the sieve step. There are so many ways that this is done. Some universities will require you, after doing the application on the Chinese government portal and also on their university portal, they will expect you to submit all the documents you have done, the applications you have done, you submit to the embassy in Ghana. That is for some universities. Some universities will require you to submit soft copies of the application documents. Other universities will ask you to submit directly to them. So depending on which method the university you are applying for is putting in place. Oh, as for someone was asking whether you can notarize documents that are a year older or more. As for notarization of documents, it is the documents you are applying, you are using to apply. That is what you are going to use. I mean, your birth set will be as old as you. For some people, the birth set was just done 2 or 3 years ago. And your certificate, maybe you finished your degree years ago and you are applying. Once you are using them to apply, you must ensure that they are notarized. Here, you must submit it based on the criteria they have given you for submission. If they say you should submit it to the embassy here, submit to the embassy. If they say submit that to them, submit. Now, some universities will require you to make some payments, application fee. So some universities will require that you make some application fee to them. And those can be paid in the bank, or if you have someone in China, then that person can make payments and provide you the proof of the payment, and you can now attach it as the proof that you've made payments. Some universities require you to attend interviews like the way it is done in Ghana, but their interviews are to verify your willingness and your ability to take part in the program. So not all universities require the interview. The university I attended never required an interview session from me. What they just did was they looked at the documents that were sent, and by merit or by virtue of what was given, they give the scholarship, or they give the admission and scholarship as well. When you have submitted your documents and there's an interview in your case, or no, there's no interview, You have to wait and keep collaborating with the universities. Now, the universities are the ones that would review your application documents. So when they review your application documents, they would decide whether you qualify for, first of all, the program you are applying for. Second, whether the Chinese government scholarship you are applying for, whether you qualify for it or you are within the quota for that particular program. So if they say they are giving 200 for a particular program, and then they have already maybe issued a number of them, are you eligible? When you are selected, their selection process is equally like the way the Ghanaian one is done, where your application documents are sent to a panel. The panel will look at it, and then when the panel consider that what you have done is okay, then the panel can go ahead to recommend. Now, if you happen to be there, in my case, I had an experience of being part of the admissions process when I was a student there. Now, what they do is that the admission files are given to the respective labs. They have labs. So if it is network security, the documents are given to network security. Now, in that particular lab, there is always a most senior professor. So that senior professor is the one that receives the documents. Then the junior professors that are under him can decide that, oh, they want some number of international students. Now, in selecting the international students, sometimes what they do is that they rely on the international student they have working under them. So let's say you have an international student that is working under a professor and he wants to take on new students. He can decide to give the documents to you to consider the people for admission or not. Once you give that recommendation and the person is satisfied with the reasons you have given, you can't just say, okay, I'm giving the admission because this person is no. Now, let's look at this instance where you have a computer science student who did little mathematics and is applying for big data security, and an accountant who did a lot of mathematics also applying for the same program. The Chinese will prefer to pick the accountant who have done a lot of mathematics to the computer science student who did little mathematics. So you realize that their interest will be on the person that have that particular math background, since the program they are going to do will be involving a lot of mathematics. Now, when you are giving the award, sometimes somewhere between June and July, you are giving what is known as the JW21 or JW202. This is what I'm talking about. You are giving some document like this. It doesn't look like it's a very important document, but this document is as important as your study. This document, this is just like a JW202 file. This is what you need when you are applying for your visa. So you have to go with this. So the institution that is giving you the admission and the scholarship will have to indicate this on your form and give to you. Then you will send this. So you see that here, they will send this to you, and you now use this one, attach it with some other information to get your visa. So this is how that JW2 and those kind of things look like. So what are the difference? Now, the JW21 are usually given to students who are studying in China on full or partial scholarships. And this will cover, as we indicated, the tuition, the living, and the rest. Sometimes, in some cases, they are given air tickets. Now, the JW2 are given to students who are self-sponsored. So that means a student who is going to China, but he says he doesn't want the scholarship of the university, the provincial scholarship. He doesn't want the university-based scholarship, but he can take care of his study. So this person, when given the admission, is given JW202. Now, the university-based scholarships too also are given the JW202. But see, because it is the university-based scholarship, it is assumed that the university is the one paying or sponsoring you, not the Chinese government. That is why you are given the same as someone who is going as a self-sponsored student. So how do you apply for your visa? When you receive your admission letter and the JW202, you have to get the admission form for study in China. Now, the admission form, there are a number of things that are usually considered. Let's say they call it the checklist. So this will tell you all the things you need to put together when you are going to the embassy. You need a passport, which is valid at least 6 months, photocopy of that, visa application form, medical examination form. So all of these things that I have given you, even though you have gotten the admission, you've gotten your letter, you've gotten your JW2, if you are going to the embassy to look for the admission, you must have this one printed, and all the documents that are listed must be placed in the same order. It is not now that you go and enter the embassy and then they will have time for you to go and put what your original, where your, this is where my original passport is, this is the photocopy of the information page. You must have this already arranged, and this form must be sent along so that they can tick that you have actually submitted your passport, you submitted the copy of this, you've presented both the photocopy originals of the medical examination form. So they said photocopy and original. So if you go there with that the photocopy, it is your business. You are the one who have not followed the requirements. And inside the embassy, once you enter the embassy, the Chinese embassy, you are no more in Ghana, you are in China, you are in a different land. So you must obey or follow the rules that exist in there. Someone who did mathematics with economics, can you also apply? Please, everyone can apply. You must look at the master's program you want to do. And that's why I indicated that you must first of all know whether you are eligible for that program and the program aligns with your academic goals before you apply. But when you do, please, this checklist must be followed diligently. They don't compromise on anything. They consider it as you not being serious if you don't follow the process. So basically, when you are applying, you apply for a student visa, X1 or X2 visa at the Chinese embassy. Now, the X1 visa is a visa that is given to someone who is going to stay in China more than 6 months. And the X2 is usually given to those who stay less than 6 months. Some of them can be business, those going for tourists, and people going for language programs that are not going to exceed 6 months. They will give you this kind of visas. What are the requirements that you need when you have a full scholarship and you are going to apply for the visa? It's different from when you have a partial scholarship. When you are having a full scholarship, you only just need your valid Ghanaian passport with at least 6 months and 2 blank pages that are there. Then you do a photocopy of that page and the extension, and then one fully filled visa application form, just like it is. And you have to follow all the checklist items that are there. Now, the person must present both the original and photocopy of the medical examination, just like all the things that I have listed on that checklist. You must follow them diligently and submit them to the embassy. And you must make a payment of $50. Please, they do not accept the Ghanaian equivalent of the $50. And this one, you must go with it into the embassy. When your application is successful, you make that payment before they give you your, your passport back. So there will be a lot of processes that will involve collection of your biometric data at the embassy and the rest before the visa is issued to you. Now, if you are actually also going for a partial scholarship, the embassy would require you to provide a signed and stamped original bank statement with at least 4 months on it, indicating an amount that is sufficient enough to cover your travel, your accommodation, your medical expenses, and your feeding. They want a proof that you have what it takes to stay there and fend for yourself. And you must also indicate a proof of your flight booking to indicate that you are going to be able to pay for the flight, as well as a proof of the place you are going to stay. And you must equally also provide the visa application fee. So sometimes you realize that people are tempted to get people who will give them the bank statements. And when they get the bank statements, it doesn't necessarily mean that when you go there, they'll go and ask you for those accounts. So sometimes people will have to pay monies into the account of the students. And then the student can now use that amount to apply for the visa. So sometimes people are also there at the embassy and other places who do it as a job. You are on partial scholarship, you need the statement. They give you the statement, you pay something, then you can use it to do the application. So basically, if it is a business visit, you must have an invitation letter. So in this case, a student, you must have an admission letter the scholarship award, and then maybe sometimes they can ask you for a police report. How do you prepare to leave Ghana? Basically, you should have booked your flight, arrange your accommodation, and you must go to the airport with a yellow fever card. If you don't have a yellow fever card, you would have done all of this, but you won't be able to board the plane. They need to know that you are mentally sound before you enter the plane. You won't enter the plane and then go and hijack the pilot, and then remaining people would suffer for your madness. So when you are going, you prepare for your stay. For the first 1 month or 2 weeks, you can go with your gari. I remember when people are going, they will be interested in going with clothes. Please, when you are going to China, do not waste your time packing your Ghanaian clothes, because when you go there, you'll be able to use it. Every season in China has the clothes they wear. If it is rainy season, they are rainy season clothes. If it is dry season, they are autumn, there's autumn clothes. If it is winter, there's winter clothes. If it is spring, there are spring clothes. So you can't go with your Ghanaian clothes and expect, like the way in Ghana, I can use the shirt from January to December. It doesn't matter which season. I can wear a shoe from January to December. It doesn't matter the season, because the weather doesn't change like the way the Chinese weather is. So when you are going, you prepare yourself more on the initial stay, the food you'll be eating, maybe shito. And when you are going with shito, you don't need to have oil inside. You can do the dry shito. When you go there, you buy oil. Flour and the rest, you can avoid them. Sometimes you can go to the airport and they'll think it's cocaine, and you can be detained at the airport just for them to certify that it is not cocaine. So there are a whole lot that when you're going, you can fry your meat, get your kinky, put them together, and then go there. So that the first 1 or 2 months, you would be rely on that. Now, to go to China, it's not like maybe the US where you can just enter one plane and then 7 hours you are there. Sometimes we spend more than 24 hours. If you even get to the airport and maybe the city you are going to, you have to use a train. Sometimes you can get to China and spend 1 day or 2 days before you actually get to the destination. Because if you are booking a train, you must know whether you are booking a sleeper, a fast train, or a supersonic train. So if you go and book the slow one, you can spend so many days before you get to your destination. Basically, when you are going to China, you are going in favor of time, because they are 8 hours ahead of us. And when you are coming to Ghana, you are coming against time. So you can leave. I remember they said that no one can go to the past. But in China, you can see January, and then come and see 31st December in Ghana. So when you get to China, what do you do next? Most universities will have welcoming program where students will be made to pick you at the airport. So they would have given you the pickup dates that, oh, on this day and this day, there will be students to pick you up there. If you come after the pickup dates, there will not be any student there to pick you up. You have to now find your way to the institution by yourself. So they go with their schedule, and they are serious and committed to those schedules. Once you go beyond the schedule, you are on your own. So when you get to the university, before you get there, most of the times you are even assigned a supervisor. The supervisor will be able to allow to give you some guidance that will allow you to be able to know what courses you are going to do. So based on the orientation of the supervisor, it will give you the courses that you can pick when you are registering, so that you align with your supervisor like that. Now, once you register at the university, you need to get a residence permit, which means you have to apply, go to the police station to report that you have come to China. Then the police will give you a document. Then you can use the document and go to their PSB to apply for the permits. All those ones, there's monies involved. Now, you must start the process early to avoid missing the deadlines. Ensure that documents are accurate and complete, and you are following the due requirements for those documents. Then you have to keep in contact with the university or the embassy, depending on which one you presented your documents to. Thank you very much for your time. I will now allow for you to be able to ask your questions. You can unmute and ask your questions If you have any concerns, then we can pick it up from there.
Um, Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, sir. I am Yusuf Abdurrahman, and
Okay.
my question is, most of like I need some clarification on the cut-off points that normally Chinese scholarship do cover.
And usually they don't, you see, the Chinese government scholarship, the government scholarship itself does not select the student. It is the university you are
Mm,
applying to that will select you for meeting their requirements. So if they say that you are applying for a master's program and this way you must have this, this, and this, and this, and this, and they consider you qualified for their master's program. Then when they do that, it is now the university that will recommend that, oh, Chinese government scholarship, we want this particular student to enjoy the scholarship that you are giving us. So it is more of the institution that is going to what be awarding you the government scholarship from their end and recommending you to the Chinese government secretariat to give you the scholarship, not the other way around. So once you are getting the government scholarship, means that your institution have recommended you for that package, not that you have met a particular criteria by the government scholarship. I hope your question is answered.
Hello.
yes, please.
Yes.
Good,
Good
yeah, good
morning.
morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Um, yeah, this is Christopher. I was the one that asked the question concerning the notarization.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so what I actually meant was, I've done some notarization, I think, 2022.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was now asking, can you still use those documents to apply, or
You
because the
did.
date,
Okay, I get that.
be-
So your own,
exactly.
was it the comprehensive one you did or it was just the one that was done at the High Court?
Yeah, that one, it was done at the circuit court in Avrongo here.
Good. And do you have dates on those documents
Yes, the dates were on them with the seals and everything.
and everything? Good. So once the
Yeah,
dates and the seals were on it is considered old documents.
okay.
Mr. Salasi, is that the case? Is it possible to use the old documents to apply?
Okay, sir. I'm also having a question here.
Yeah, I'm asking for one of my friends to
Yeah,
verify.
hello.
Yes.
Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, so I think once it's notarized, that's it. It's still legal, so maybe you lose your documents. And once the notarization still is on it, it's still valid.
Good. So,
Yeah.
so what he's saying here is that whether it was done in 2022, 2023, 1999, once it is coming from the court, it does not invalidate them. So if you go to the court again, you have to do the same process again and get the same documents with the same, how do you call it, seals that will be attached. So once it is coming from the court, it's still a binding document. So you can use the 2022 documents to apply. Yes.
Yeah,
Sir,
good morning.
I'm having a follow-up question.
Yes, do.
Can a third class student who apply to Chinese university and also for the Chinese scholarship?
Can I what?
The student with third class
See,
GPA.
the time we went, the Chinese government didn't even know the difference between degree and HND. So people were having HND and they were made to apply for masters and PhD. Until the Ghanaians themselves, we went there and started telling them that no, in Ghana, there's a difference between the HND and the degree. Before they now also understood that there was that kind of difference. So if I'm applying for a government scholarship, apply. The university does not say provide a second class lower, a second class upper. They will ask you to submit your, how do you call it, your documents. They don't say you must be a first class or a second class upper. But the better your class, the more the chances of getting the scholarship. That is what I know. But there's nothing like, okay, when you are applying, third class cannot apply. I have not seen that requirement in anywhere. Salasi, have you seen any such requirements that will limit the person to whether he's a first class, second class,
Well, not really, but
Okay,
at
good
the end of the
morning.
day, yeah, can you hear me, please?
Yes, they can hear you.
Not really, but at the end of the day, your transcript should reflect the course you want to do. You should do better. So, for instance, yeah, if you want to do software engineering, maybe you took a course in software engineering, you're having D or you're having F. You are you are technically eliminating yourself. But at the end of the day, your transcript should show some good performance so that you can qualify for those programs.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sars.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, morning. So that's why I was indicating that if you watch, when your person applies, I indicated that there was an instance where a computer science student didn't do a lot of mathematics, and then accountant did a lot of mathematics, and they applied for data, big data security. The professor preferred the mathematics more to the person who did just a few mathematics, and he's calling himself computer science, but he is looking at the fact that this person is coming to deal with data. So the person should have more data, more mathematics than to be able to do that kind of data thing. You see, so your transcript will be considered, and the course you are going to do, each particular course you have done in Ghana will be mapped to that particular course. If you have done well in the courses that are required by them, they will select you. But they don't list it and say that, okay, you must have A in this, B in this. No. But the university that is also selecting will look at your transcript holistically and pick each course you have done and the grade you have done and match it to the requirements of the initial requirement they need for the person who wants to apply for such a program. Someone wanted to
Yes,
ask.
good morning, sir.
Morning.
Okay.
Yes, I would like to give a comment on your presentation. Thank you very much for giving an insightful presentation. I just had my chance to come to China, and I would like to give some support out to people who are willing to come.
Oh, good. So you're currently in China.
Someone. Yes, please.
And you are in which province, which university?
Hanju, Beihai University.
Okay, that's good. Doing what program, please?
MSCGI is a remote sensing.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I just went through my application, though I applied for Beijing government and CSC.
Yes.
So one thing that I observed was with regards to the interview period, usually you are given a chance to give a justification of whatever you've put into your document.
Yes.
So you'll be on the lucky part when you are given the chance to have an interview. And usually when you get the interview period, you have to make sure that you prepare yourself and you talk convincingly. Because if you put a lot of things on your CV and you can't even defend it there, pertaining to that field, it usually raises eyebrows.
Yes.
Yes. So that is one thing I would like to advise my brothers and sisters to take care of. Yeah. And also, I have someone at the High Court. So whoever is interested in notarizing your documents, though it's at a fee, it's not that much. I did mine. So whoever is interested,
how much was it at the time you were doing?
I think it was 100 CDs just a few months ago. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And because of the queuing up, maybe if I pass it through that means it might not queue up. Just 45 minutes to 1 hour. You get it. And also at the interview center, usually you find Ghanaians when they go to the interview center, when they ask you, what are your plans after your graduation? Yeah. You realize that people are saying that I want to work in China, I want to develop China. You are just giving yourself a no to the scholarship. Yes. China is already full. They have everything in excess. So it's better you just say, look, when you are done with your school, you come back. If you are here and you get the opportunity to work, that is fine for you. Yes. But you don't let them understand that you are doing sympathy interview there. No, just tell them when you are done, that's knowledge you get. You come back to your country. Yes. So I'll leave my WhatsApp contact. If someone is interested, I'll link you up to the person. I don't know if I have the permission to do that.
Oh, no problem. I mean, we are all trying to help the process.
Okay. Okay.
So for me, I know my own. It was a friend who got in and also assisted me to apply. Thereafter, there were other people that are equally also helped to apply, and some have gone and have come, and others are even still there. So basically, I do not have any problem. The whole idea was to get the information out there and let people know that there are a whole lot of opportunities there that are untapped, and people can tap into them and have the opportunity of better academic records. Because once you have your certificate and it is China or abroad, I mean, you're already on a particular level. People see you differently as compared to. Oh, I also have Dr. Kluger Brown. He is actually working currently in China as an assistant professor, and then he has been a friend and a brother. He's happened to join us. I asked that if it was possible for him to spend some time with us to intimate us on what benefit we can get taking academic work seriously and working hand in hand with our professors, what benefits we can get outside that. So, Doc, you are welcome. And as I indicated, if we join, I'll be honored. And I'm happy you've honored me with this. So, Doc, welcome. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, hello, Doc.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Just to chip in one small additional information. So I'm currently an associate professor.
Oh,
there.
Great.
Yes.
Great. Thank you.
Yes. So I know a lot of people. I mean, you have done a great job with this presentation.
Thank you.
Giving information on how to get it there. However, I would like to remind listeners or your audience that getting the scholarship is one step. And currently, there are a lot of revision that regarding the continuation of the scholarship that you have. Now, usually every year they have this review. So you may have a government scholarship or school scholarship, but if your performance, whatever definition of the performance is, if that performance is not up to what is required by your professor or by the school, then your scholarship may be revoked. So this is one information that I want to give. The other point also is that these days, before you apply, both for masters and PhD, you have to get a supervisor. This supervisor might have endorsed you or seen your CV and your credentials. This professor will say, okay, I would like to supervise such a person. Then you add this document, this acceptance letter document during the application process. So that means you've been accepted by somebody who wants to work with you, then you can go ahead to apply for the scholarship. So that is for most schools in China are now adopting this method. Wow. My students, for example, I asked them to write a motivation for masters and even for PhD. I asked them to write a motivation. What motivates you to, want to pursue this course or this research area? And then based on the way you wrote it and based on your ideas and your everything concerning your education, then you'll be accepted by that professor. And that is the first step. So these two things that I've said, it should be at the back of your mind that things have changed a lot.
Wow.
You first have to get a supervisor. Supervisor must give you a letter of acceptance or acceptance letter. Then when you are fortunate to have the scholarship, every year there is a scholarship review. Yeah. But mostly everyone passes this scholarship review. But that if you don't pass it or your scholarship is being revoked, that means you actually didn't attend classes or you don't have a good relationship with your professor in terms of academics, and so many things. But generally, everybody usually passes this yearly review. I think maybe this is all I can say now, unless someone has a question.
Yes, if you have any question you want to ask Prof, you go ahead and ask Prof. And now you are asking, how do you get a supervisor? You see, in the past, they will assign you the supervisor automatically when you are applying. And then like universities like Hong Kong, I remember that time when I was applying, you first have to go to the university website, identify and scout for the supervisor who is in line with the research direction you want to go, send him an email and describe yourself. Try to market what you can do to that professor. And if the professor now finds you suitable as a candidate, then that professor will be the one to now accept you as a student that he will supervise. And you can now attach that kind of documentation when you are applying. So the question you are asking is, how do you get a supervisor? Prof, I think this is what I have done in some university. I don't know whether it is outside.
Actually, this thing is relatively something new. They started some 3 to 4 years ago for masters. So, before, if you remember, masters, you don't need to select the supervisor.
Yes.
They normally select the supervisor when they look at your academic credentials. For example, the courses you have taken and those ones that you did well and so forth. And those assistants who help in selecting, like you mentioned before, they will look at it and say, okay, this person is suitable to do network security, or this person is suitable to do so and so forth. But these days, what you have to do is to first visit the university website. So when you visit for UESTC, when you visit the website, you go to the school website or the faculty website. You see all the supervisors, all the professors listed there. Then you click on any of them, or you click on them. You look at the things that they have done, or things that they are interested in, or research area they are interested in. Then you send them an email. Hopefully, they will check their email and they will check your CV. So normally, I would advise that if you are sending that first email, please do well to include your CV, motivation, and transcript, because sometimes the supervisor or the professor may not have even the time to even tell you, okay, can you send me your CV? So imagine that I got an email from a student, and all I can see in the email is, oh, professor, I've seen your credentials and I want to work with you. And there's no document there. Immediately, I will think that you are not serious. So your first email should contain everything to convince that professor that you are interested in working with him or her. So the one who asked the question, first, please go to the university website. Look for the faculty link. You'll see the professors there. Click there, look at what they have done recently, especially what they are doing recently. If you're interested in it, then you send them email. Or you can even call if you have the means. Thank you.
I think even calling is a bit cheaper, because when you are calling from Ghana to China, it's cheaper. It is when you are calling from China to Ghana. I think that, I don't know. Yes, you even have to use other means to be able to make the calls. But when you are calling from Ghana to China, it's much cheaper than even doing local calls in Ghana. If I'm calling MTN to MTN, the charges are relatively cheaper when I'm calling China than if I'm doing my own Ghana to Ghana calls. I don't even know how they are able to do that anyway. Yes, any other concerns?
Yes, so Prof, what is your area of specialization or study, so that maybe if any student wants to reach out to you to be a supervisor? Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so I'm in the biomedical engineering department, and my area is mostly brain networks, neuroscience, and computational neuroscience.
Okay, thank you for that.
So, if you go to the UESC website, and then you go to School of Life Science and Technology, You will see my name there. You can check it out.
Yes.
Okay.
So you see, Prof is actually, we all started computer science. And then we all did a master's in computer science. And after the master's in computer science, he left the computer science. I don't know where now he's a medical. he has left there. But you see, the computer science it has been useful for him in the area he is, because he does a lot of simulation over there.
Yeah.
You see it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. You see that you don't necessarily have to say that you are a medical person before you can go and do some related courses. Once you prepare yourself well, there is always a way.
So one thing that I would like to chip in, as you are saying, is that my area is highly interdisciplinary. So we use mathematics a lot, advanced mathematics a lot, and then programming, computing. So when I say computing, I mean programming. So your math must be okay, not a wizard, but must be okay. Your programming must be good, not a wizard again, but must be okay. And then now the latter part is the medical. So in terms of my area like this, we look at the brain. So if you are from computer science, we would prefer you even prefer you to someone who is from medical biology or something like that. Yeah.
Good morning, Doc. And Prof.
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, concerning the supervisor, in other countries or like Australia, that is, you have to send a proposal. I don't know whether in China you have to also send a proposal or not. More to the point, I want to find out maybe if your transcript or your teaching document has a different name as compared to that of your passport, will this still be valid? Can you apply? With the name on the transcript is different. We have one name different. The passport is also having a different name.
I think in my case, there was a instance where my the spelling of my local name, Kampogninge. Now, one N was missing from it. I had to go and swear an affidavit.
Yeah.
Before I could use it. Just one N. Not like the whole name. They spell the name. It is supposed to be Gninge. And one of the N was removed. So it became Gnige. But all other documents had the Gninge. I had to go and show an affidavit in court and attach it.
Yeah.
Now, when you get to the airport in China, they will pick the thing. They don't care. They will pick your name and be going through what is there. So if one letter is missing, another one, they don't know what to. They don't have any. There's no explanation. It means that you're not the one.
So, Doc, like if you swear the affidavit, which portion of it are you going to use to apply, or the number that they will give you there?
No, the affidavit, you have to always attach it. When you are attaching your documents, you attach that affidavits too.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Good morning, Doc. Once again.
Yeah. Supervisor, please. Hey, supervisor, I don't know. Are you adding a proposal or you don't add a proposal?
So, like I said, hello.
Yeah, Prof, you are on. You are on.
Yeah. So, like I said before, these days most supervisors would like you to send. So, if you're a master student, it's sometimes not required. Some professors require. For me, like this, I require that you send a proposal. But for PhD, it's compulsory that you send a proposal. I would like to explain it a bit. So you PhD, you are telling the professor that you have this knowledge from masters, and you have read the professor's area of study, and you want to come and expand your knowledge in that field. So the professor will be expecting that you tell him or her what you want to do. What problem do you see to solve? So it won't be a case where you come to the school and then now be struggling to find what to do. Sometimes it can change, of course. Your initial proposal may change, but at least your first contact with the professor should have this. You should tell the professor that this is what you want to study, what you have seen, you are on the same level, so you want to work in this area. So, in a nutshell, for me, I require that you send for both masters and PhD. I require that you send a proposal. But some professors may not be so much, especially for masters, they may not require them to send a proposal. Yeah.
Yes, sir, I want to make another input. Yes. In applying for the visa at the embassy, when you are applying for the booking, when you are doing it on your own, you have to be very careful, because if you make a slight mistake, especially with the documents that you are submitting and the information you put on your application document for the visa, if it doesn't tally, when you go there, they would like to do it for you again at a charge of $61 from my little experience. But if you are able to do it well, when you go there, you don't have yourself wanting. And also, currently, I think it's $136 for the processing application and processing fee.
Wow! So
at the embassy in Ghana.
No more $50.
No, 136.
So $136.
Yes.
And you must go with the physical 136.
Yes, usually if you have, let's say, $100 in the dollar currency, or the US dollar currency, then you have the change in Ghana cedis. It's fine. Usually they prefer it that way, because last time I was coming to China for a symposium, I went through the same process, and when I was coming from my school, I went through the same process. So usually they prefer that you should have, or you can even sell, let's say, $200, just $100 two notes. Then when you take it there, they can give you change. But you don't usually just send all in Ghanaian currency like that.
Okay, thank you for the update on that aspect. So it means that one should be considering that is 100 and you had, is it 110?
36.
36.
Yes, currently 136. And usually at the embassy they use a higher rate. So if the dollar today is, I experienced it last time when the first time I was supposed to come, it was 15 point something. But just I had prepared my money, and in the evening, the dollar rose up to around 15.8 something or 9 something. So already the embassy changed to 16. So usually you have to always round your figures up. So if the dollar is 16.8 today, it's better you send 17, because when you go there and there's even a peso, I'm not sure they will mind you.
They don't.
Yes, and also you should send passport photo size white background. I think it's white background. You should send at least 4 or 5. 4. Yes, because if you go to the embassy itself, you can pay up to 45 cedi, 50 cedis just for passport picture. There, the prices are abnormal. When you are even making photocopies at the embassy in Ghana, it's abnormal. So you should make photocopy of all your documents. At least you should have photocopy your passport. You should have a scan of it, and you should photocopy it in multiples, so that when you go there, you don't have any problem with anybody.
Yeah, I remember that experience. And another thing too is that you have to go. I remember in our time, I was at the embassy at 12 midnight, but I was still number 120, and I didn't even get my turn to enter that day. So I had to sleep in the embassy again. And mostly you cannot go anywhere to sleep. So sometimes you just find the people seated at the back of the embassy throughout. But now if we are able to, even if we are able to book and you go there, I don't know, you still have to, that queue thing is a whole lot. So that is where the Guru boys are. They will be able to pick your documents and find a way to get you in, and you have to pay something for it. Are there any other concerns or any other questions? Otherwise,
yeah. So the place where you book for appointment is at Stanbic Heights, but where you have your interview is at Cantonment. Their embassy at Cantonment.
yeah.
So there are two different places altogether. Where you book for the visa is at Stanbic Heights in Accra. When you just go there and you ask, they will show you the floor you should go to. But where you have your interview is at Cantonment. and they start operations at 9 a.m. So it's better you be there by 8:30. So the moment they start, then you just go through your processes. If not, if you wait, business people will come and other stuff. It will make the place very congested and it will delay you. I think that's a little
I have seen someone asking whether there are computer science programs where which does not involve programming. I think that programming, as you know, is just a tool, okay, that you will use to solve your problems. So no matter the major that you or the research area that you enter in computer science, you might not necessarily have to be a programmer, but with the programming skills, it makes things faster. So, for example, during my master's, I was more concerned with writing algorithms. So, writing abstract algorithms, writing so many mathematics. But in the end, I had to implement my proposed method. And so I wrote this in C because I had some knowledge in C++, which helped me a lot. So yes, programming is not part of the course, but programming is indeed a tool that you will be using a lot in your computer science program. I don't know if I've answered right.
Yes, you've answered right. Salazi, anything else? But I think that the program you can do without that one. Though in my case, in the lab that I was, there happened to be some students who were doing programming. So when I needed them to do the actual simulation, it was a matter of me giving them the algorithm for them to translate into the code and then run the simulation and give me the outputs and I used for my work. But when you have already know what is done, it is much easier for you to be able to repeat what you have done. But in this particular case, they did the simulation and everything for me. I only picked the data to do my analysis. You see?
Yeah. Yeah, so you have said it right. So like I said, the programming is just the tool, right? So you will not be, no professor will be on your neck to tell you have to know programming. But you yourself, as the time goes on, you realize that you need the knowledge to solve your problems. Yeah.
Are there any other? Otherwise, I would prefer that we
end. Yeah, I think someone has asked the question.
I think that
the notarized documents involve original or photocopies.
And the person wants to know whether the notarized document will be original.
Yes.
I have not seen an original document being notarized. If it is original and you are notarizing it, I don't know. Mostly you have to send, it's more like certification of documents. You send copies of those ones to be certified by the court. But when you are going to the embassy, you have to go with those original documents for inspection. Even though you have notarized, you still go with those ones for inspection. So you can notarize, it's just like you can pick your Ghana passport and go and notarize the Ghana passport. You have to go with the information page and the next page of it as photocopy, then they can notarize that for you, not the original document. Can an IT student also do your course since we didn't do mathematics? Oh, there are other courses that should be done. No, do not limit yourself. Please, is there anything like police clearance certificate in any aspect of the CSE application process? Police clearance. I didn't encounter any police clearance. I don't know.
Yes, I think now some of the universities would require that because I did that before coming. So you need to get a police report.
Now, so if the university requires you to get or to do a police or present a police clearance form, you have to go to the Ghana Police Service. They have a unit there that they will take your biometric data And from that biometric data, what they will do is that they will now send the report to Accra for those of us not in Accra, for them to find out whether you have any criminal records. Have you ever been arraigned before court? Have you been involved in any criminal thing? If they don't find any, then the clearance is given for you and it's valid for 6 months. Basically, it's always valid for 6 months. And after 6 months, if you need to use it again, you have to reapply again. Prof, I am an applied biology student with little knowledge of programming. What kind of master's program are available at your area? Prof, you are in trouble.
Please, this is Abdul Basit Mohammed.
Yeah, so there are many courses here, like molecular biology, some other wet biology that you can do. It's not necessarily that you have to know programming. At least you should know something like Excel, or you should know your statistics. That one, I think every biology student is required because you have to do some statistics, but for programming, not so much.
Salazi, do you have anything to add? I think we should allow Prof to sleep, because right now, I don't know the time. The time now is a bit late. Hey, it's already 8, and Prof is here to get to the house. So I think we'll have to wind up and then give Prof allow Prof to go and then spend time with his family and prepare for tomorrow's activities as well. Salasi, any other?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I think some of us, when we got to China, we had to unlearn and relearn certain things. So that's one thing that everybody should have in mind, that things or the education system in China is not like we have in Ghana. So we should be ready to learn more, unlearn certain things, and relearn certain things.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one piece of it.
Yeah, thank you very much. So what it means that when you go there, you have to learn. You have to either unlearn what you know and learn different things. Now, someone is asking, are you allowed as an international to work or do business while schooling? Please, if your passport says that you are there to study, the passport does not say work and study. If they catch you, they can deport you, or they can make you pay money, big time money. Let's say you are doing some work and they find you, they ask you to pay 50,000 RMB, or they deport you and you don't have the 50,000 RMB. That means they'll deport you, and that means your program is squash. So some professors will allow you to do some part-time work, or some of them will even assign you work in their lab. And based on that, they can pay you money for doing the job that they have assigned you to do in the lab. So yes, you can be allowed to work or do business, but your supervisor would have agreed that you can do the work, and your visa on your residence permit must indicate that you are allowed to do study and work. If it is not there, if they catch you, wahala for you.
Yeah, no. And so, and also the business aspect. Now we have the online platform or business in China is very ripe if you want to do maybe certain online job, but getting a job physically and going is not something that is allowed. But maybe you want to buy something online, ship to Ghana. I think that can work. Yes, but
so what Prof is saying here is that the visa that you have given does not allow you to work. So as a student, the reason why I don't allow you to work is that you don't pay tax, so you are not allowed to work. So how do you call it? If you are found working with a student visa, the penalties are there. You can either be deported, you can either be asked to pay some money. Someone like Salasi was always in his room. I don't know whether he ever did a little job. I don't know whether Salasi ever did job, because anytime I visited, he's in his room and he's behind his computer. Yeah. Anyway, thank you all for being part of today's presentation. We will organize.
Sir, please, Doc, I want to find, do they have time for application period?
That's what I'm saying. The schools have time for application period. And the Chinese government also have a time, and it ends sometimes.
Okay, so what is
April 30th is always a deadline for the application of the Chinese government scholarship. But the institutions have their time, which is sometimes different or in sync with the Chinese government scholarship, since they are going to select you for that particular scholarship. If you apply and maybe outside their application time, they won't be able to shortlist or give you access to those scholarships.
So like the government scholarship is always around, the deadline is April. When is the starting?
Sometimes 15 December.
December, okay.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, Doc.
You're welcome. And those who join late, don't worry. You can go to the my Facebook page. You'll find the feed there. It will be there. I also make available you can also go to the flyer and ask for it. I would also attach it to my Google Drive and share the link with you. So if you give me an email, I'll share the link so that you can download and have it. So, and on this note, I'm grateful, first of all, to Professor Kuluga Brown for not sleeping or not being with the family now and spending the time with us to share his experience and also advice and how do you call it? Agree that students who are willing to work in his area can contact him, and provided the page for which you can go and find him. I would say that it's remarkable for one to be this selfless. And I would say that I'm grateful for him being part of this session, and for Prof and myself. I don't know. It's like a hen and then the rubbish dump. We can't finish thanking one another.
Yeah.
So I will say thank you, Prof, for now. And I'm also very thankful to Mr. Elvi Salasi, who is the webmaster at the University for CK Tedam University of Technology and Applied Science. He has been very instrumental when I brought this matter up and I went to him. He has been very instrumental. He said, yes, it is good. We should do something like that. And trust me, the beautiful PPT you are seeing, he's the one that made sure that it looked as beautiful as it is. And he's provided enough inputs at our end also. And he has, I can say, I've worked with him on this presentation as much as I've worked with Prof and the others who are not here. We had another person, Dr. Nana Kwame, who was supposed to join. I think he's not been. He said he had some issues and he could not equally join. So I will say thank you to Salasi for being part and sharing your experience and making this presentation a success. And for all the people who participated in this presentation or this seminar, we thank you all. And the next time we have something up, we'll let you know. And then we'll anticipate your involvement again. Thank you all. Thank you for coming and have a blessed day. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Engineer.